Welcome back to A Smarter Way to Retire. I'm Tony Leonardi, and today we're diving into a crucial topic, the biggest retirement planning mistakes and how to avoid them. Even if you've done a great job saving and planning, small missteps can have a big impact on your long-term financial security. Over the years, I've helped countless retirees navigate these challenges, and today we'll walk through 5 of the most common mistakes I see, so you don't have to make them. Let's jump right in. Mistake number 1, I would say, is retiring without a plan. The biggest mistake people make is not having a real financial plan. They retire with a pile of savings, but no strategy for how to use that money over, let's say, the next 20, 30, or even 40 years. In other words, they wing it. I've seen this happen with high earners who assume they can just take money out as needed, but without a structured withdrawal plan, they risk overspending, panicking during market downturns, or realizing too late that they're running out of money. Actually, what I see more often than not is people underspending in retirement. They're so afraid of running out of money that they don't or won't spend what they have. This is another downside risk to not having a financial model. I can't tell you how many times over the years I've had to encourage clients to spend more money. From a woman who literally would not buy a cup of coffee outside of the home, to a man recently who was concerned about the type of car he should buy. Because we built a sound financial model for both of them, I was happy to let them know that they could afford that coffee and that dream car without having to worry about running out of money. That's the power of financial modeling. So the fix is you really need a structured, personalized financial plan or financial model. One that includes a budget, investment strategy, tax planning, and contingency plans for unexpected expenses. If you don't have one, now's the time to start. I mentioned some financial planning websites in an earlier episode, and there are more and more available every day. Scour the internet, find one that you like, and use it. If you're not comfortable doing your own financial modeling, let me know. Reach out to me on my website, leonardifamilywealthcare.com. I'd be happy to help. Mistake number 2 is underestimating how long retirement will last. Most people underestimate how long they will live. If you retire at age 65, there's a very real chance you'll need your money to last 25, 30 years or more. In the 1950s, the average life expectancy for a man was 66 years. So retirement was not very long. For a woman, average life expectancy was 71 years. The average today for men is in the early 80s and for women, mid to late 80s. So retirements are lasting much longer today. So here's the issue. If you only plan for a 20-year retirement, but you live to age 95 or beyond, you could outlive your savings. And with medical advancements, healthier lifestyles, people are living longer than ever. The fix to this problem is to plan for a long retirement. That means making sure your investment strategy and your withdrawal rates are built for decades, not just years. I've mentioned the 4% rule here in an earlier episode. The 4% rule says basically that if you withdraw no more than 4% of your principal saved each year, you shouldn't run out of money. Some people are starting to say now that the 4% rule should be renamed the 3% rule due to increased inflation and market volatility, along with longer life expectancies. Keep in mind, this is just a rule of thumb. Remember, the best practice is to have a financial model in place rather than relying on rules of thumb. Mistake number 3 claiming Social Security too early. I see this one all the time. People rush to claim Social Security as soon as possible, as soon as they turn 62. But what they don't realize is that taking benefits early means locking in permanently reduced payments for life. On the flip side, delaying Social Security can increase your monthly benefit by 8% per year up until age 70. That's a huge difference in lifetime income. The fix: if you can afford to wait, delaying your benefits can mean tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional income over your lifetime. Run the numbers and see what makes the most sense for you. If you need the money and or have a short life expectancy, perhaps due to poor health or family history, then maybe taking Social Security early is the right move for you. If you don't need the money right away and you have a longer than average life expectancy, it may pay off for you in the long run to wait until age 70. Mistake number 4 is ignoring inflation and market volatility. Inflation is the silent killer of retirement plans. Many retirees shift their portfolios to safe investments like cash and bonds, thinking they're avoiding risk. But if your investments aren't keeping pace with inflation, your purchasing power is shrinking every year, and that is also a risk. If you hadn't been tuned into the negative effects of inflation, let's say prior to COVID, it's likely that you're well aware of inflation today. And all of this talk about inflation really has some retirees worried, and rightfully so. Don't sleep on inflation. Run your model with several different inflation scenarios to see how you might make out under different conditions. Stress test your model for inflation so you're prepared for the worst case scenario. And then there's market volatility. We know the market will go up and down. We even have models that will predict how much volatility is expected based on your current portfolio holdings. The only thing we don't know is when it will happen. Average rate of return over your retirement is nice to know, but when you expect volatility will have a major impact on your probability of success. We call this sequence of returns risk. You and your neighbor could experience the same average return over your retirements, but end up in completely different places based on when you experience volatility. Early volatility can be devastating, while late volatility might not be much of a concern at all. The fix? A diversified investment strategy is the key. You need a mix of assets that provide both stability and long-term growth. Because time in the market is more important than trying to time the market. Remember our saying, time in the market, not timing the market. It's also prudent in the first few years of retirement to have sufficient income or cash to offset any potential early volatility. That's a great strategy. Mistake number 5, failing to adjust your plan over time. A financial plan isn't something you create once and never touch again. Life changes, markets change, tax laws change, your needs change. And if you don't adjust your plan along the way, you could end up off track or possibly running out of money. For example, maybe your portfolio needs rebalancing. Maybe you need to adjust your withdrawal strategy, rethink your insurance coverage, or even push back retirement by a year or two. Small adjustments now can make a huge difference later. The fix is to review your retirement plan regularly, at least once a year. Make small adjustments as needed to keep things on track and avoid financial surprises. Typically, we make large adjustments in the first iteration of your plan to make sure you're on the right track or headed in the right direction. We often find after running a retirement model for the first time that people are headed in the wrong direction. Let's say they're headed east when they need to be headed north. This requires a course correction, which is a major change in the plan. After that initial course correction, once you're headed in the right direction, your annual reviews will make sure you're still in your lane and not veering off towards the shoulder. These are the minor or ongoing adjustments to your plan, which are also critical. So a few final thoughts. A quick recap of the 5 biggest retirement planning mistakes to avoid. 1, not having a plan. Retirement isn't just about saving. You need a structured withdrawal and investment strategy. I recommend having a dynamic, real-time financial model in place to keep you on track. Number 2, estimating longevity. Plan for a retirement that could last 30 plus years. That's a reality today. Number 3, claiming Social Security too early. Delaying can significantly increase your benefits. Number 4, ignoring inflation and market volatility. Your portfolio needs to balance growth and stability. Stability to pay the bills, growth to offset long-term inflation. And number 5, failing to adjust your plan. A financial plan is a living document. Review it at least annually and make adjustments as needed. Avoiding these mistakes can mean the difference between a stress-free retirement and financial uncertainty. Stress, sleepless nights, and perhaps even a less than optimal retirement. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'd love to help you build a smarter retirement plan. You can find me and more information like this on my website, Leonardi Family Wealth Care. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you the next time on A Smarter Way to Retire.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Osaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth. The opinions expressed herein are for general information only and is not necessarily the opinions of Osaic Wealth or its representatives. Investing is subject to risk, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against loss. It is not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Please consult your financial professional, attorney, or tax advisor with regard to your individual situation.